It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Zack Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
It's episode 35 of Two Guys and a Goalie, presented to you by Oddshark. You can visit them, our presenting sponsor, oddshark.com. We'll catch up with Scott Hastings from Oddshark a little bit later on. It is Nielsen. It is Joaquin Gage. It is Zack Kassian, arguably the toughest Kassian. We'll get to that in a second. And shitty producer, Hernan Salas, is with us as well. Sorry, Cass, you were telling us a story before we started, and I was just thinking about how lame that line is.
Well, I don't know if I actually, like I said, I don't know.
You said it sounded like something you might have done.
Something similar to that. Maybe not quite those words. But for those that missed it, I think it was was it last Monday?
It was last Monday,
last Thursday. Last Thursday, a week ago, that someone messaged in and said that Kassian was on the Kess and Juice. So
Zack Kassian
was on the like Kevin Bieksa and the Ryan Kessler podcast, and somehow I came up. And so there was two parts to the story. One where there was I was starting to work with some charities in Ottawa, and we are using like my Twitter moniker because it was growing quite rapidly at that time. So we trademarked it because we're like, oh, we're going to use this. We can do some charity work, some product lines, like
which is Kassassination.
And then one of the newspapers in Vancouver had 4 or 5 times like they had started using that in the titles of their articles. So we contacted them. We're like, hey, like we're going to use this for charity. Please, like if you don't mind not using it, because people get us confused all the time. Like people still tweet at me. Like when Zack Kassian signed, I got a whole bunch of tweets of people being like, "Congratulations!" And I was like, "It's not me."
Yeah, but you should just be like, "Thank you very much."
Probably should have been. Yeah. Or should be. Anyways, then the reporter dramatically overreacted, and then they started writing articles about it, and then I started getting all kinds of hate from Vancouver fans. Like they were doing like trademark searches and like contacting me and saying like, "Well, he has this type of trademark, and you do this, and how can you do that, and what is he doing?" And then somehow it turned into that I was trying to sue the newspaper, and then so they're asking Zack Kassian about it, and so they were just talking about like, yeah, we probably need to ask him what actually happened. And really, it was like, we're doing this stuff for charity. Can you guys please not do this? And then the media being the media, which I'm now a part of, blows it up into something stupid. And then the second part to that, they were talking about fighting. So they're talking about me, and in that the first time that I lined up across from Zack in a game in Minnesota when I was there. And
wait for it, everybody.
Apparently, so I don't remember saying this, but I'm like, well, I probably said something similar to it, or this was the message I would have implied at the time, where I slashed Zack off the draw and was like, let's see who the tougher Kassian is. I probably said it with some angst behind it, and they're like, I don't know if like was he kidding? And he was a rookie at the time. Like I knew I was tougher than him. Yeah. And it was more just, I knew his game, what his game was going to do, and probably was just like, I don't want to have to deal with this later, so I'm just going to.
So did you fight him?
No, deal with it up front. I think that may have been the game when I had my athletic pubalgia.
The worst.
It's called the worst. And I actually may have fought one of his teammates, Guillaume Desbiens, I think, in that game with like a torn ab and groin. That was one where it was like I would take like 2 strides and have to hold my breath. Like I couldn't. It was bad.
Well, then I guess you answer that question yourself.
There can be only one.
You were the
that would have been a good one. Okay, go full Highlander. Oh, that would have been awesome.
It's like somehow it turned the articles like that's what people were doing. It was like there was like a satire article about like there can be only one. Like it's so stupid. Like and someone that thought that should actually be a story. Like just ridiculous. So dumb.
There can be only one. That would be, man. If what would you like? What if somebody who was going around fighting everybody was dropping funny one-liners like that before doing it? Like how do you focus on a fight if you're actually laughing?
You just laugh. Like, you know what one of the best ones was? It was a fight against George Paris, and it wasn't even talking. And someone sent me a GIF or GIF.
Yeah, GIF. What it doesn't GIF maybe even
GIF of it, and it was when he was in Florida. It was one of his, he'd been back for a couple games after his injury, like when he had hit his head, and so we were going to fight, and the linesman pump faked us. So linesman like goes like this with his hand to drop, and I'm with guys like that. I want to create, even though George is really big, I want to create lots of space. So I want to immediately be backing up.
Because you like to circle around a bit.
Well, I like to pivot a little bit, but more so I like to be able to plant my back foot and then just leverage, and so basically close the distance when I want to close the distance versus letting him dictate. Like I like being in control of the fight.
It's like foreplay.
Yeah. So I ditched my I ditched my gloves. But the linesman pump faked me like on the puck. So he didn't. He went like this and didn't drop for doing. I'm doing like a.
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
a hand motion to drop the puck.
Okay, can you do that 10 more times?
Yeah.
So we can
And
video?
shed my gloves and back up. And so it's like my gloves, and I know I'm going backwards, so I get rid of them. Like, it's not like I don't want to just drop them like straight down. It's like I want them out of my way so I don't trip on them going backwards because I'm moving back because I want him skating forwards into me. And ref doesn't drop the puck.
And
So-
Peros didn't drop his gloves.
No. And so my gloves are on the other
corner.
side. I got to go skate over them and get them from the ref. Like, skate back here and wait till the ref actually drops the puck. And so someone made a gif of, and I don't know where, I probably should see if I can find it, of that. And they like insinuated they're like, he has force powers. And they just reversed it. So like my glove like goes backwards, like snaps onto my hand.
That's great.
It was pretty funny.
That's hilarious, actually. I like that one. You got a lot of good stuff. Welcome back, Cass. We didn't have you on Monday. Chris Dingman was in.
Yeah, I missed Dinger. That's too bad.
He talked a lot.
Oh, gosh.
God, was he telling
Verbal
lots of stories.
diarrhea,
It was
that
good.
guy. Wow.
So yeah, you had to drive somewhere for work on Monday, right? For your real job.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I'd like to see you have a driver. How great would it be if
That
you were
would be
just rolling in the
unbelievable.
back, you're doing work, you're on your laptop,
You know,
somebody's
I
driving
could
you
Skype
places.
in for this, for the whole
You
thing.
could do the whole thing from the back of your car.
That would be amazing. You know what? We may get there someday with this whole automatic driving thing.
No.
Oh, that's a good
How
idea.
nice would
you
that
could
be,
you could
though?
be sitting in the front. Here's a Matt Kassian. Was that April 7th, 2013?
That sounds right.
You fought him a couple of times.
I fought him a couple times. It would have
That
been.
was when he was in Florida, right?
He would have been Florida. I would have been Ottawa.
They'd already
yeah.
let you pick up your gloves. Oh, no,
No,
there it is.
He pump faked me.
That was great.
And everyone knows what's going on. They're just like, okay, like.
Oh, God,
No,
that
and
is
then-
too good. Yeah,
oh.
if you're listening to the podcast, you just need to go to YouTube and go Kassian versus Peros, and then you can see them go after. That's good. I like that. That's funny.
God, if that ref didn't stop that glove, you probably got that to the red line.
Oh, it was going.
Oh, yeah, the other guy stopped and brought it right back for it. It was moving. You're a beauty, buddy. That's good. Gage, good to see you again, you media whore.
Yeah, well, what can I say, boys? I'm the village bike of media at the moment. Everyone's getting a ride.
So let me see. You did Strudwick's radio show here in town. Then you did Rod Peterson's live,
Yeah,
which I've
yeah.
done too. It's fun. It's
Yeah,
cool.
great.
Yeah, it's good.
He was in PA when I was there, so yeah.
Oh, he was up in PA?
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing a show from PA?
No,
he was
the
in there.
radio guy for the Raiders.
Oh,
Wasn't he for a bit?
was doing the.
Yeah.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
the radio. Oh, okay.
Well, I was there.
Oh, so he was like the play-by-play guy when you were playing?
He he said he went to a dinner up there once and he was naming some of the players and he said my name and no one remembered me. Oh well. I wasn't big in PA.
And then last night I'm driving to the game. I'm flipping back and forth between the two radio stations, and this guy's on Ched's pregame show talking about stuff, and it's just like, look at this guy. Like,
I was asked to do the jersey to the military, so I took advantage of that. That's
oh, nice. That was very cool.
that was a pretty cool thing I got to take a part of, and then just the guys at Ched and a friend of the show, Rob Brown. I just had a quick chat with those guys.
Yeah, that was good.
It's always fun. Saw Stoff. He's all mad and mean and ready to fight. He's so grumpy. He's
always mad.
He's grumpy.
he
Man.
he gets really into those games.
Oh my gosh, he was asking me about Junior and stuff and fighting and just I felt bad for him. It looked like he was about to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
But it was good. It
But
was
you
good
wore
to
your
see him.
purple shirt, the one that you wear in the podcast. So I saw
Yeah.
it. I was at the game. I liked it. I was like, Gager's wearing a purple shirt and
Well,
tie.
I thought I might get a chance to get on the big screen.
Yeah.
And,
That's good. Worked out.
I was actually on this big screen for something positive. So that's great.
Instead of the old blooper
Yeah.
reel.
Yeah. And then if you ever hit, it's funny because I think everyone I knew was at that game or saw it, and my phone just blew up as soon as I was on the big screen, and just the comments of my personal appearance just didn't. I thought I looked good,
Well,
but I
it
didn't
wasn't
get
a
a lot.
flattering view because the camera was like being shot up at you.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not my best angle.
Yeah.
He needed to back. Next time I got to go a few feet back. I think.
All right, well, the Battle of Alberta is what everybody was talking about in the National Hockey League last night. It's what everybody's talking about today. So we're going to spend a lot of time on that because there's a lot of things coming out of that from both the Flames and an Oilers perspective. The Canucks are red hot. They're 13-3 in their last 6. We're going to get to that. We will have your Popeye's chicken poll question a little bit later on. Scott Hastings will join us from our presenting sponsor, oddshark.com. And, of course, we will play Sport Clip Haircuts, home of the MVP experience. We'll play Keep It or Clip It a little bit later. But, Cass, let's just start with your thoughts on a game that was hyped up a lot and actually lived up to the hype.
It did. I was staunchly saying that I didn't think anything was going to happen. I said that, I think, on this podcast, on 1260. Just all over the place.
See, he's just much a whore as I am.
Because I had that, and then I was on one of the other shows at lunchtime, and then I was on
Oh my God.
You know what I was going to say, too? I do like 6 different things. I'm a huge whore, too.
We should just run around with red lights over our heads.
We are all media whores.
Anyway.
Welcome to the red light district of media.
But I was wrong. I thought nothing was going to happen, and unless someone got ahead by a bunch of goals, and then it did, and it was exciting. It was fun. Still surprised that Tkachuk fought Kassian. I didn't think that was going to happen. The Nuge Monahan fight I thought was fantastic. Like, just two guys that aren't known for fighting, aren't really going to do it again the rest of the year, but just in the heat of the moment, they both just were engaged, and that's, if you're looking at fighting, and especially modern now, that's usually what it's going to be, and that's where it's more exciting.
Those are kind of the best ones.
Yeah, because
I would agree.
It's pure emotion, and it's not like calculated or anything. It's just I
retweeted a slow-mo video of Nugent Hopkins in that fight today, and you could see his face. He just looked like he was so angry. I was just like, yes,
angry Nugent.
Look at this guy. Yeah, it was good. So yeah, that got taken, like some business got taken care of, but it was still like a really good game.
Still
too.
a fantastic
game.
The buzz in the crowd, I loved it. Just as like Full House, and just the costumes.
People dressed up as turtles.
Oh my gosh, it was like Halloween in there. I've never seen so many turtles in one.
It was
and
awesome.
Even it was probably about 10 minutes into the first when everyone started chanting turtle. I've been to a lot of hockey games. I've never seen fans start chanting turtle. That was great. I think that's why he had to fight, because you can't come into a building for the rest of your life and have them chanting
can you
turtle.
imagine if it didn't happen this time? You're right. The turtle thing, it still might continue. I mean, once you get a handle, it's kind of a fun thing for a rivalry, but
I have to agree with you, Cass. I didn't think that much would happen this game, but as you know, playing against a team so much, so close together, that hatred, like you really learn how to hate another person pretty quick when you play against them a lot. I thought Saturday was going to be more fireworks. I'm still excited to see it.
It should be good.
But there's still a lot of drama.
There's still a lot of stuff there, I think, that will cause some fireworks.
Yeah, I just want to say, because I know we have people listening in Calgary, that for as frustrated as Edmonton fans get here, I would take Tkachuk on my team in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
absolute heartbeat.
Outside of all the other shit, he's a really good player.
What do you mean outside? You'd love it if he was on your team. You would absolutely love it.
Yeah, don't change.
Absolutely, don't please don't. It's great, fun to watch, and fun to want to see someone slash you.
What did you think of? And there's some good slashes too. He slashed Nuge slashed him, Draisaitl slashed him, he slashed Draisaitl, and they both got penalties. They talked about it after the game. Kassian said that Tkachuk came to him the first time they were lined up and said, "You want to do it?" And Kassian was like, "No, I'll pick the time. We'll do it when." And he said, "It's a game within the game." I want to ask you about that today, because like, how often does that happen when you kind of know you're gonna go, the other guy says, "Okay, I'm ready," and you're like, "No, we'll go maybe the next time we line up." Like, how much does that actually work?
It's dictated. I think it's absolutely does. So if you're Tkachuk, you're just thinking about, if I'm going to do it, and he's made the decision, okay, I am going to fight him. I'm going to stick up for myself, and I don't want to be called a turtle, so I'm going to fight him. The first thing you're going to do is like, I'm just going to go get this over with, and then I can just focus on my game and play. And if you're Zack Kassian, you know that that's what he's going to do. Is if he's asking me now, and it's early in the game, he just wants to get this over with. He's probably scared. He's probably nervous. Probably doesn't really want to do this, but he's going to stand up for himself. So he's asking me to go. And why would I do it now? Why not make him sweat it out a little bit, so he's looking over his shoulder for the next couple of shifts, thinking about this before we have it happen? So I think it's like a power move or control move where you're trying to mess with a guy's head.
Yeah,
just like me going up to a young guy in the first shift, knowing that he's probably not going to fight me, being like, "I'm going to fight you. There can be only one."
or saying, "Let's see who the tougher Kassian is."
I'm going to go with "There can be only one."
That's a good.
what I must have said.
That's what I said. I swear I said there could
absolutely.
be only one. What do you think of Kachuk actually in the fight? I mean, kind of never really got his balance. Maybe took a shot and then went down.
Whatever,
Right?
and that's it. And for him, I'm sure he's happy.
Well, that's the whole point. Like, it didn't matter, right? It didn't need to be a great fighter. He didn't need to land shots. He just
It's the potential.
Yeah.
It's like the potential for it is there. And it's just that I'm willing to go toe to toe to someone with someone if necessary, if I do something like that. So I was fine with it.
Gage, it's not the end of that. Like, it's the end of this little thing, but like for the next, with Kassian signed now for the next 4 years, I mean, Kassian and Kachuk are going to have a little rivalry here.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Awesome for the teams in our great province. I can't wait to see these games. They're just they're going to be electric. The Nuge fight was the highlight of the night for me, really. Yeah. I hate to say it though. I did like that goalie stick flip.
You did? I wanted to get to that. Like, well, why do you hate to say it? I was wondering.
Well,
it's funny,
I hate
this
it 'cause I
podcast
never
works
thought
so.
of it.
Okay, I was going to say.
I thought that was pretty sweet. Well, of course, I wanted the Oilers to win, but that was a pretty cool move.
I liked it
Czech
because
too.
of the.
Is he Czech?
Is he Czech? I was watching him this morning, and the accent. Is he Czech?
I don't know
Can
what
you
he
check
is.
it up. Where's Riddick from? But yeah, when I first saw it, I loved it right away. I was like, this is great. Like the end of the game of a Battle of Alberta that goes to a shootout. And Riddick was good the whole game. I mean, he saw McDavid on a breakaway, Draisaitl in overtime on a breakaway. To stand up, stare down Draisaitl, and stick flip. That was great, man.
That was great.
That's the perfect way to end that game when there's another one on the Saturday.
Oh, yeah, and you know that is going to be played in the Edmonton dressing room.
Like the boys will talk about that?
Yeah. You don't absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't think that's not going to find its way to the pregame video in the morning, being like, remember this? Remember what this guy did? Look at that. Look what he's doing. Look what he thinks of you. Absolutely.
Didn't you see, when I saw the rage in Nugent Hopkins' eyes when he started going, all I could think of is newly married man, probably frustrated being, he's got husband issues now. He's just like, screw it, man. Like, this is where I'm going to get my frustration out right here.
Our little Nuge is growing up.
He is. I said, I almost feel like maybe his wife's expecting. And he's just like got this dad rage that's just like waiting right now. It was good to see Monahan's first fight ever. And then Nugent Hopkins, it was his third fight, according to our friends at hockeyfights.com.
He's Czech.
He is Czech. No,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm good with accents.
The last name, Rick, didn't give it away. We should have known. Cass, what did you think of when Zach was going off the ice after the fight and Ronaldo was at the end of the bench pointing to him being like, you get me next?
Of course he's going to do
Ronaldo
that.
really didn't. I mean, that's basically all he can do,
Of course
right? Like,
he's going to do that. Why wouldn't he do that? That's
But you think
what
something
he's
comes
there
of it?
for.
Like, you think on Saturday the code
No,
continues?
If Kachuk would have got absolutely
Beat
beat
down?
to a pulp. If he would have got
like if
beat to a
Kassian doesn't
pulp,
let up when he goes down. And,
yeah, then you would have. But yeah, I don't think you're going to see anything.
You know,
But prove me wrong again.
well,
That'd be
no,
good.
yeah, but, so
I'd love to see
that's
it.
what I was wondering. Like, do you think there's a fight in that next game? Like, does something sort of continue
maybe
here?
someone goes
I mean,
after Giordano.
well, that's what I mean. Like, there's still a few storylines here for sure.
It's the potential for it's still there. It's just such a tight playoff race that I just go like, you may have like a heat of the moment between two guys, but I don't think there's as much animosity or even like with the McDavid thing where people are going to necessarily be going out of their way to try to start something. I just I don't know. I don't see it happening. But again, I was wrong last time. So,
Gager, what'd you think of that play by Giordano? I mean, Connor obviously lost it. He freaked out
Yeah,
on the
he
bench.
did.
Kassian went over right away, said something to Giordano. I know, like, Giordano has his reputation as a really good guy and everything, but
doesn't mean he's not a dirty player.
well,
Yeah.
he's been suspended for kneeing. He got Bobby Ryan with a knee. He got Sebastian Aho with a knee. He missed McDavid with a knee. It was kind of like a shin on shin sort of thing, I thought. But it's still like, oh, I'm beaten. Throw my leg out. And
But that's a natural instinct.
It is.
It's so like
Yeah,
as
but
soon
that's a
as
stupid natural instinct.
Yeah, I
That's
know. You go, oh my gosh, they're gonna. You got to train yourself not to do that. But it is. I want to think that it was just that and not. Ooh, I can take this guy out. I don't think he would.
No, I don't
think
so
it.
either.
But yeah, it's how is he going to learn if you don't? At least a fine or something. If he's a repeat offender like that, I mean, Peros is there. He saw it. He saw the reaction to the crowd.
Well, and it could have been interference, or
something. It should have been. I mean, it spun McDavid around. So
it could have been a number of things.
No, we all know he doesn't. If he were to get the proper calls against him, the other team would be in the penalty box half the game. It's
why don't they?
They should, but I think it happens so fast that even the guys on the ice don't see it.
In some situations, if there's a little bit of traffic or something like that, right, you might not be able to pick it up. That one was pretty blatant.
That was
kind of
blatant,
just out there, right? So that's got to be frustrating. With that being said, I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff. There's a lot of extracurricular stuff coming out of that Battle of Alberta. When it's all said and done, it was 2 points for the Flames, 1 point for the Oilers. In the head-to-head series this year, Calgary has 6 points. The Oilers have 1. That's the difference between where these two teams are in the standings right now. The Oilers had 3 power plays in the third period, and they didn't get anything from it. In fact, one was a real buzzkill. Draisaitl couldn't get the puck going at all. When you look at the actual game itself, and it's nice because we got all these storylines, but it was still a really close, well-played hockey game. It was pretty much the perfect game for everybody to talk about moving forward. Cass, what do you think overall of the Oilers getting those opportunities in the third and not being able to capitalize?
That's your chance to win the hockey game. You had plenty of opportunity, and some of it not forced, like the too many men on the ice call, where you didn't even force them to take a penalty. They just didn't execute and took it, and you had a couple chances. Like, they had a couple chances, a couple of decent looks at it. Rittich was there to make a few saves. But if you're going to execute, there's no excuse at that point in the game that we're rusty or that we haven't been on the ice or we just got back at it. Like, you've been on the ice now for the entirety of the game. You've had, I guess 1 power play earlier than that in the game. But you need to execute better. Bottom line, power play can win you a hockey game. You don't score, you lose in overtime.
And it's a good power play, right? They're the top power play. They're a ridiculous power play so far this year. Gager, what do you think of the way that third period kind of broke down?
Yeah, missed opportunity, I think. The one when Kassian at the start of the game came in off the left side, had a chance to score. Rittich made a good save. Like, it shot. That was
the glove save is a 2-on-1 with McDavid.
With McDavid there. I thought that was a big moment of the game because they score on their first shot too, right? Like, that's making those key saves. I know it hit Larson's stick or whatever, but again, I find that sometimes Smith stays a little bit too far back in his net in cross ice situations like that. But
you're blaming him again?
I'm mad.
I really blame the goalie when there's his own defenseman in front of the net that he's not expecting to tip the puck. Tips the puck.
He was pretty deep in his net, though.
He was pretty deep. He does play too deep.
His angle of where he was, I didn't like. But that I know that feeling of coming off a break, maybe not playing in a bit, and you're not as comfortable as you once were. Definitely after a few days.
He gets him to a shootout, and that's in 1.
Hey, I know. He did play well. He did, but there's certain parts of his game I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah, I can see it. It can be a little sloppy.
Yeah.
The second and third goals. Like, I thought he made a lot of, well, not even a lot, because the Oilers didn't play a bad game. Not either did Calgary. I mean, both teams had chances. But like the one timer, you're like, it's a one timer from about 20 feet out. But he still kind of sort of lunges at it with his shoulder, which is kind of weird. And then the guy who gets left alone in front, actually, Gager, break that down for us, because I see him kind of get stretched out and fall on his belly, as opposed to maybe just sort of, how Carey Price would do, he'd just push across and stay in front of him.
Yeah, he would. Carey Price has ridiculous amounts of patience in situations, and Mike Smith's a lot more active if you were to compare the two. And even Mikko has a little bit more. I know how he felt. Like, you got to outweight the player a little bit, coming left to right or right to left. I think I would always kind of let them think they could go wide, because I didn't want them to come back on me, right? So I would almost stay and just wait them out as much as possible. So eventually that's the only way that they could do. And all I had to do was really worry about them slipping a 5-hole or just keep going. Because as you can see, Mike Smith, when he gets caught like that, he just kind of lunges. He ends up on his stomach, and the puck goes in the net, right? So, you teach young goalies to move across with the player, right? And, I mean, he's a big guy. He should have. I know that types of situation, but I didn't like that goal. I didn't. I think Mikko would. If Mikko's in net.
He plays it a completely different way, right?
He plays it a different way, and he probably he gobbles it up with his stomach on the far post, right? So,
Cass, what do you think of and I've got a few Flames topics I want to get to as well, but what do you think of overtime and McDavid and Draisaitl not being together?
Yeah, interesting.
It surprised me.
Yeah, you have Calgary send out 2 defensemen. See, here's the thing: is what teams have started to do is, and not all of them, but a lot of them are starting to send out not their top group to start overtime. So they'll send out a defensive group. If they get control of the puck, they'll just hog it until McDavid, Draisaitl have been out there for 30 seconds. Then they'll change and go on the offensive. And maybe this was typical, because even if we look at the Oilers' record in overtime this year, it hasn't been phenomenal. And
I think they'd lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, and I think this is Dave Tippett just trying to do something a little bit different, maybe giving a little bit of a different look to it, and trying to force Calgary to put out their top guys, or to just think about it differently, like overtime and who you put out. So a little surprising, but not overly so. Like
when you watch Draisaitl, he had 2 assists last night. They gave him the first star. He had a couple bad turnovers on the power play, gave Ryan that shorthanded chance. And then in overtime, he left his one-man goal right inside the blue line, just left him, and then had a burst to come back offensively the other way. And I'm like shit, I want to be like, he's exhausted because he's played like 25 and a half minutes right now. But then you get the puck and you go back the other way with a little bit of speed. Twice in overtime, just blatant lets his man go, and it led to 2 really good scoring chances. Is that a guy who's usually out there with McDavid and plays the game a little bit differently? Like, is that like, what would be the reason that, like, I thought he had the great chance in overtime, but then he had like,
that's the offensive. That's the risk reward. That's the high risk. I'm betting our defenseman and our goalie are going to bail me out, and I'm going to get a great opportunity going back the other way. And that's a choice, and that's one that he's going to have to talk with Tippett about, and they're going to have to decide: is this what we're going to do normally, or do you need to play a different way?
Yeah,
he's banking on, well, we're going to turn this puck over. We may turn this puck over, and then I'm going to have a jump the other way, and we're going to score, and we win. So you're rolling the dice. I don't know if we could get odds on that from Scott Hastings from Oddshark.
Yeah, we might. Let's do it. Scott Hastings from Oddshark.com, presenting sponsor, 2 Guys and a Goalie, joins us today. Scott, appreciate the time, man. How are you on this Thursday?
Oh, I'm not too bad. Good talking to you once again. And now that the All-Star break is over, it's the final push for the second half.
Let me tell you about my buddy who he texts me on. Texted me yesterday morning before the Oilers and Flames game and says, "Hey, you'll never believe the odds I got last night." And these are the guys over at CoolBet. And he got odds. It was plus 1,600 for Kassian to fight and plus 1,400 for Tkachuk to fight. And he only put $2 and $3 on this. So I'm just like, oh my God, plus 1,600. You bet $100, you're going to win 1,600.
Yeah.
So I like log into my CoolBet account as fast as I can. And they'd already like readjusted the odds down to like plus 200 and plus 140 or whatever. So he texted me last night. He goes, cha-ching. And he turned his like $3 into $60. I was like, buddy, you should have at least put $10 or $20 on this. But so that doesn't happen very often, but the odd time you can find some pretty sweetheart odds, maybe if you're more in the loop than some other people.
Yeah, so actually, one of the guys that works for CoolBet used to work here at Oddshark, so he had showed me that prop earlier in the day, and I also took advantage of the Zack Kassian, and oh yeah, absolutely, I saw that, and was like, well, obviously they're going to fight. Like, those two are, competitors. They're definitely they're going to drop the gloves. And sure enough, right off the start, there it was. So yeah, that was a great bet, and I think CoolBet took going on the chin there as well.
I texted him after the game again. I was so angry. I was like, buddy, as soon as and he's just started betting, like he didn't realize how good those odds were. I said to him, why didn't you let me know? He goes, well, it was late. I thought you had to work in the morning. I was like, no. I said, when you see something like that, text me immediately. But it was frustrating.
Yeah, that's a 911 text. Like, get on this now.
How much when there's hype like that game last night or this rematch on Saturday, how much more do you see people just start betting on it just because they're going to be watching and they're intrigued?
Yeah, I think it's a sucker bet in general, just because fighting it has gone down. So like, I think this is the lowest it's been, and even last year was the lowest before that, and it's less than one fight per 5 games or something foolish like that. So overall, it's a really sucker bet. But that one, the books made a mistake because they didn't look at previous history, and especially the 2 guys that went at it. It was almost an obvious bet to make. And I think that's why when you logged in and you saw that the line had moved so much, is that they were exposed and they knew it. And yeah. So I think if you could see some history between a couple of heavyweights like that have the bad blood, that's a good opportunity. You know, Drew Doughty and Matthew Tkachuk is another one that, you know, when they get together, there's often fireworks. But for the most part, it wouldn't be a bet for me.
Cass, do you think Tkachuk ever fights Doughty? Do you think that happens at some point? Because Doughty hates.
Yeah. I would see before this game, I would have said he's more likely to fight Doughty than Kassian, just because it's two more star-style players.
But it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
It hasn't happened yet.
No.
I sent you a couple of things earlier. I want your thoughts on them, and that's cross-betting, like NHL action on Sunday with Super Bowl bets. I think the one I sent you, if I remember correctly, was Carey Price saves against Columbus versus Patrick Mahomes rushing yards in the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah, you can bet on that.
Oh, that's
and guess
exciting.
what? I will be betting on that. And I think I'm going to take Mahomes rushing yards. But how popular is that cross-betting stuff? And can we find that in a lot of places? I sent you a couple of suggestions, but there's got to be more, right?
Yeah, you almost really just see it around the Super Bowl. You know, there's plenty of options there. There's also, like, I think it's Jimmy Garoppolo's pass receptions versus 1912 Oscar nominations and or Oscar wins. And, they have a ton of those things. For me, it's more of if I ran out of things to bet on for the game, you know, maybe I already have 100 bets in or something foolish. It's fun to play around. I like these ones a lot more for people that are more casual bettors, and you know, maybe they're stronger in hockey, or maybe they're stronger in another sport because they do have crossovers for NBA and college hoops and a little bit of everything. So if you're stronger in that area, it allows you to enjoy the Super Bowl a little more. Just maybe you don't know as much on the game. As far as the Carey Price one, I'm actually going to go against you, and I like Carey Price to get this one.
What?
So maybe we have a little head off here. Well, because I think Mahomes only topped 25 yards twice in the regular season. Now, he did well in the 2 playoff games. Whereas Carey Price, he's going to face at least 26 shots. And he faced 35 in the first game against Columbus this year. So I'm going to lean towards the guarantee that Price is going to see 20-plus shots. Mahomes, I don't know if he's going to rush for 20.
Oh, we have an issue on our hands here because I like Mahomes. Yeah, everybody go, ooh, yeah. This is good.
With the Niners defense, though, do you think he can?
Why would they? I think with the Niners pressure on the front four, it's going to force Mahomes out of the pocket a little bit more.
But is he going to go sideways or is he going to go up?
He's going to go upfield, baby. That's how Patrick Mahomes works.
I have seen you watch Tecmo Bowl, so
yeah.
I think you know what you're talking about.
I know what's going on here. I'm a Tecmo Bowl stud. Do you remember? I don't have the text in front of me. Do you remember what the other cross bet was that I sent you?
Yeah. So you had George Kittle reception again for San Francisco, and the Penguins and Washington's goal total.
Ooh, Pens and Caps usually put up some goals, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I was leaning towards that one as well. Go with the hockey again. You know, Kittle average catches this year were about 5.5, and the Pens have recently they've both been strong overplays. They're going to have a total of 6.5. This is the first matchup between the two this season, so I think they're both going to come out firing. And I like the goal total over the receptions for George Kittle.
Yeah, this cross-betting stuff sounds fun. Scott, appreciate the time, man. Thanks a lot, and best of luck.
Thanks, and I'll talk to you guys next week. And good luck to Carey Price this weekend.
He's going to need it. He's going to need it. There we go. That's Scott Hastings from Hotchkiss. I did Mahomes like 57 yards rushing in each of the 2 playoff games so far.
Yeah. I think he'll get 20.
He's not going to get it.
Come on, boys. Look at this. This is me making money right here. Come on, get in on it.
I'm going to take my money and I'm going to buy a bag of chips.
Is that what you're going to do? Well, you're extremely unhealthy, Cass.
No. I'm just according to one iTunes reviewer, I'm just uptight.
Somebody called you uptight? You
guys didn't see that?
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh, that's
I'll have to check it out, actually. Let's go. Let's take a quick look at our podcast comments recently. Let's see here. What do we got? We got... this is the antelope thing. I saw this. We talked about antelope. Remember, somebody's like, "You're in your pocket."
There's lots.
Yeah, this guy says, "I harvested," which is how you say you killed, I guess.
Oh.
Well,
I thought he was
but killed implies you just like left the body. Like harvested is like I'm using all the parts of it. That's why they say
you don't
harvested.
use all the parts of an antelope, do you?
Well, you're like using I don't know, but use like they say harvested because they mean like they're going to use the meat, they're going to use it versus I'm just going to shoot this thing and leave it there to die and not touch it. That's why they say harvest instead of kill.
Oh.
How many people just kill an animal and leave it though? Don't you always take it?
You just said, I think it's the connotations around the
Hey,
word.
you are uptight.
I'm being uptight.
No, this came in and said, I've harvested 4 antelope in my life, all in Alberta, usually in the southern part of the province, but I've seen pictures of them east of Camrose, south of Killam, and south of Lloyd.
Aren't the
I've been in Alberta for like 18 years, never seen an antelope.
No,
and
me
you're
neither.
from down there too?
Yeah, I went to school in Lethbridge. I lived in Lethbridge for like 6 years.
Yeah. Aren't
Seems
the
like big
horns
antelope.
like you grind that stuff down? Isn't it like natural Viagra?
Come on, man. You're saying if you kill an antelope and grind down its antlers, I think you said
get
horns.
Into a
Are they
fine
horns?
powder.
Superpowers.
Yeah.
Into a fine powder, and then you snort it and you get a boner?
I didn't say snort it, Dusty. I don't know what you're doing.
Wait a second. How do you take Viagra? I've been doing it wrong. This one says, I try to listen to Nielsen every morning on the radio. Sometimes I just can't get enough. Wow, this must be my parents.
Wow.
So this podcast is feeding the need. I love Spitting Chicklets. You guys are right up there with those dudes. The others' content is definitely great. Gage is pretty hilarious for a goalie. Keep it up, boys.
What a jerk.
So, yeah, that's
How many
a pretty-
goalies does he know? Right?
Enough.
That's,
Enough.
One too many.
Speaking of goalies, let's do our Popeyes chicken poll question. I think I don't know. Let's see what the answers are to this because I think we all kind of thought it was awesome. But Dave Riddick's stick flip was awesome or ridiculous. Hernan,
Yeah.
are we all on board? Is it unanimous awesome? Like,
Cass, what did you think?
No. I think it was awesome. Listen,
wasn't
if I
ridiculous,
was
like-
playing
Oh,
against
hate
him,
it.
I would
Oh.
hate it.
Yeah.
I would think it was so ridiculous and so stupid. I'd be so mad.
so are you giving him a little extra whack next game? Or
Oh,
what?
absolutely. That'd be like a skate through the crease, two-hand the goalie type of play. Just two-hand him. If I was out of the playoffs, it's like, yeah, I'd slash a goalie.
Jeez.
What about the skate by with the sweep the leg? A lot of guys would do that to me.
Oh, just a quick little-
Just a tap on the back of it.
Yeah.
I see. I didn't do that. I found I was too large. Like, so I just, if I did it, it's like I'm going to actually knock him over instead
God.
of just a little tap.
I dove on those things too, and they looked just ridiculous because the guy'd already be at like the bottom of the
you're just
circle,
going down.
and I do the. whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah.
Oh, here goes Gage again. What are the results?
Well, we're here in Edmonton.
Yeah, that's
so 78% for ridiculous.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Just have a good time.
So,
man.
but here's the thing, like Hernan, maybe you can answer this. If Edmonton won the shootout
Yeah.
and Mike Smith did that,
Awesome.
yeah. So
And I love it because it adds to Saturday, too.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
And like he said in postgame, he goes, I stopped 3 really good shooters. I was pumped.
Yeah.
It's a battle, man.
Let me ask you this, Gager, because I saw
I've never stopped 3 really good shooters in a row.
that wasn't what I was going to ask.
Can we cut that?
Yeah, somebody texted me today and said, doing the stick toss when 2 of your 3 saves are off the post is like doing a bat flip for a ground rule double.
That's true.
Does that change anything?
Still counts.
if the ground rule double wins you the game,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
That's a
Well,
good
I
point,
still
too.
don't want to bat
if
flip.
the
on a
walk
ground
off,
rule.
if it's a walk off ground rule double,
Okay, yeah, that's true.
would
You're
you
right.
not?
You'd be
Would
excited.
Would
You
you
want
not
to
be
flip.
excited and pumped?
Yeah, no, that does make sense.
You heard me yell at those little kids on that Saturday, right? When they hit the post, I was
yeah,
like,
you were
suck
giving it pretty. It was.
Suck it, kids.
I was Marshall earmuffs.
Well,
You're not old enough for
Riddich
this.
just gave him the post, maybe.
Yeah, that's all there was.
Well, that's the angle, right? That's the angle they like to take on it. All right, so the Flames and Oilers are both still chasing the Vancouver Canucks, who are 13-3. Remember we had Jeff Patterson on? They were going on that road trip, and it was a big road trip. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I wonder what happens there, because they were on fire. I think they won
didn't
7 in a row or something.
Yeah, but then they got
lost. They
crushed.
got crushed
Yeah,
by
they-
Tampa.
Oh, that's right.
By
Yeah.
Tampa. Because
They
it's
both
two
won 8 in a
7-0
row or
teams.
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got crushed.
Yeah.
And they've been pretty good since then. They're 13-3 in their last 16. They're tied for second in the conference right now with Colorado, I believe. They're at the top of this division. Slight cushion, nothing major. And they're the second highest scoring team in the West. These are all kinds of types of things I didn't expect to say about the Vancouver Canucks at the beginning of the season. And then there's been like slides during the year where you're like, oh, well, real Canucks are coming through. But it's not the case.
Peaks
Like,
and valleys. Peaks and
I
valleys.
haven't thought they were going to fall back down to earth completely. Now, I didn't think they were top team in the West, or maybe even the top 3, but I still think they're an incredibly well-rounded team. There's not a lot of big weaknesses that they have. They have puck-moving defensemen that are good offensively. They have some high-skilled forwards. They can put the puck in the net. They have some high-skilled, hard-working forwards, like a Bo Horvat that can play in both ends of the ice. And they have a little bit of depth. and their goaltending has been good too. Like they're a well-rounded team.
This just in, sorry to interrupt. Big injury, Hurdle out for the season, torn ACL and MCL.
Oh, there you
come
go.
on,
Trade rumors for there.
Get the documentary production going.
Someone called Don Metz.
He's just like, hello. This is also produced by 97 Productions. McDavid's just making videos about it. Well, that sucks for Hurdle. Like, because Hurdle and Timo Meier, like, these are the young guys that they were eventually hoping would kind of carry things there. So Hurdle was just at the All-Star game. So that happened last night then against the Canucks.
Yeah, he left the game last night.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, Sharks' season's basically over anyway, I think.
Well, yeah, they were
At this point, they're just far back.
Yeah. I wanted to get to this on the Canucks because Thomas Drance, who obviously follows the Canucks very closely, says Markstrom has stolen more than his share of games this year for the Canucks. Even more often, like tonight being last night, he's given them time to find their game when they get off to a sluggish start. And I thought that was a pretty good comment, Gager. How important is that to a team where, hey, maybe you're not stealing a game every night, but your team's shitty for 15 minutes and they're still in it because you've been pretty good early.
That's the biggest reason why some goalies play in the NHL and a lot don't. You don't get bad goals against the Canucks, and that over a course of an 82 game schedule, especially playing in your own division, you go up against this guy over and over. You know you're going to have to do something special to score on these guys, and they're getting really good. I would say Vezina caliber goaltending this year. It's we know here from a few years ago with Cam Talbot when he was top 5 in the league. It makes a huge difference, and it's nothing. I don't think it's anything special, but that's what an NHL caliber goalie should be doing.
I guess sometimes the team just doesn't have it for a little bit, right? And if you have a guy who can keep you in it, then you're laughing.
Makes all the difference.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. It just makes up for any inconsistencies in your game, any sluggish starts, any lack of focus. It gives you an opportunity. And in games where you maybe you're close, or maybe you're tired, or maybe you're up a goal or two, and then you get sluggish in the game. So maybe you got a lucky bounce early, and you still haven't been good. They win it for you and steal one or two. It's massive.
Who's the best goalie you ever besides myself? But who's the best goalie that you had on your team?
Well, Nick Backstrom was still
Mini
was pretty good.
He was really good.
He was really good.
Did he have that when he was in net? It was just like, everyone's kind of we got Backy in there or whatever, and
I think for the most part, like, you felt good with him in net. You weren't ever really overly concerned. Like, he didn't let in a lot of bad goals. Like, he was pretty solid goalie. Craig Anderson was, when I got traded to Ottawa, it was the same type of thing.
He had some really good seasons.
He had some really good seasons. He was really good. That being said, and people forget this, like, Ottawa had 3 really good goalies.
Bishop, Leonard,
and Anderson.
That's right.
And they made the decision to trade
Bishop
first. And it's not like
that wasn't a bad. You can't criticize that, can you?
Well, you criticize who comes back. Like, you get Corey Conacher, I think it was.
Oh,
he comes back. And
maybe
was was there more to it than that?
I think there's a draft.
I'm looking it up right now.
But you have to make a decision, right? You can't keep all 3.
No,
and you're trying to. They're still young. Like, between Bishop and Leonard, they're both still really young. So you're trying to figure out who you're going to keep on top of that.
Okay, so St. Louis had him first, traded him to you guys, the Sens, for a second rounder. And then he was traded from Ottawa to Tampa for Corey Conacher and a 4th round pick.
Yeah. And not that, I mean, Conacher came in and he was decent. Like, he wasn't a bad player. But if you look at where Bishop is now, it's
Jesus,
a tough one.
6'7", 210?
He's a big boy.
I totally forgotten that he played 7 games for the Kings.
If that
Bishop did?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah. He was traded from Tampa with a 5th round pick to the Kings for like Peter Budaj, Eric Chernak, conditional pick. And then was traded from the Kings to the Stars for a 4th round pick. And then I think signed as a free agent in Dallas.
6'7", 210. By that math, I should be about 7'3" with my weight.
How is he 6'7", 210?
Jeez.
Were you around him a bit? Is he just a rake?
Oh, yeah, he's a skinny dude. Skinny and tall.
Like ridiculously skinny.
But you know
6'7",
what?
210 is nuts.
We actually got along pretty well. He's a good dude. I like Bish.
All right, we're going to play Sport Clip Haircuts. Keep it or clip it, home of the MVP experience. And then we got a few other things that I want to hit on just on the Calgary Edmonton stuff. before the end of episode 35 here. Two guys and a goalie presented to you by Oddshark. This will be a few hockey questions, a few Super Bowl party questions. Let's start here. Jujhar Khaira needs to fight one on Saturday to keep his spot in the Oilers lineup. Keep it or clip it?
Clip it. He needs to do something, but fighting isn't the answer.
I was talking with Struddy today at the station. He thinks he needs to fight somebody.
It'd be great. Well, it may turn him around from his season standpoint, but that's not. Listen, if he goes and he fights someone and then he struggles the rest of the game, that fight isn't going to make the difference. It's going to have to be sustained, ongoing play.
But what if he's already struggling anyway?
That's what I mean. It's like you got to do something, but you're going to have to sustain it, not just a one-off fight. It's not gonna make a difference.
Do you see him factoring into this lineup consistently down the stretch?
Well, depends how he's playing. When he
Maybe
goes on
keep playing like this.
When he goes on those 2-week tears where he's playing fantastic.
He's had like one of those this year.
And he's just been inconsistent. But when he plays well, he's really effective. Really effective. Like he reminds me of like a similar. Well, I guess different cadres of centerman, but that kind of physical, has some skill, can control the puck down low. Like a cadre type player where he can be in your face, like grind it out, but has some skill to do that. Like when he's playing really well, that's how he plays.
So is that like a mental thing for him? Like, is it just not like,
I don't know.
Because he's got the physical tools you would think to be able to do that on a consistent basis, right?
He's got the talent to do it.
Gager, what do you think?
I'm keeping it. Jujhar, if you don't fight someone, or you're going to find your career, you're going to be sitting on the bus going place to place. So I think this is his last chance.
Like this season, or like now in the lineup?
Yeah, he's too inconsistent.
I thought for sure when he got taken out, healthy scratch before the last Flames game, and then didn't get back in the lineup, and the team played well without him. I thought he'd come in like a bat out of hell last night.
And I know how difficult it is, but and he wants to be a good player, but his best games, are they not when he's physical? And
absolutely
along the boards, right?
I realize it's a tough thing for guys to realize what makes them a successful hockey player, because it's almost like do too much. But if he just goes out there and leans on guys and is accountable, like it's a no-brainer to put him in there. But he's almost invisible half the time.
It's just like that Gage guy in net. You know, if he just went out there and made saves, he's almost invisible in net sometimes.
I was good last Saturday. Those kids,
they had nothing on.
They had nothing. Especially my buddy's little daughter. She was really good, but I shut her down.
To be honest, I thought you got caught leaning off the post a couple times, and they went.
Well, you know what? The kids started realizing if they just kind of shoot it because they had that
weird netting on the side. Yeah.
So if they just shot from a bad angle, I'm thinking it's missing, but it actually curls around and actually just goes in the net. That little
got one of those nets set up with that ODR where it's got like the same sort of material all around the outside.
It doesn't break the garage door, right? The extra. God, we got to get you out there. Maybe not. You'll be.
I'm doing a charity.
I've been out there 3 times
on Friday.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
whereabouts? I swing by and chirp you, but I'll wear a mustache so you don't know it's me.
Community League. Yeah, it's for the Body Architects, Team Body Architects for the Alzheimer's tournament. Yeah, it's Sherbrooke Community.
Oh, you're doing one of the. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Hey, fight the other Kassian. Show who's tougher.
There could be only one.
All right, the Coyotes are the weakest of the 5 Pacific Division teams fighting for a playoff spot. Keep it or clip it.
Keep it. They are now. I'm not going to say why, but you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I'm gonna keep it, but not because of Gager's hate for Taylor. I think just because they have the weakest team overall. I'm actually gonna go with their team, like the defensive unit, because they have Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but after that, I don't know if they quite as good on the back end.
Camper's back here right away, I think, unless he's already back, so that might help too. He was having like a Vesna-worthy season there before he went hurt. So
old Camps.
The Pacific Division is just insane right now. This year is going to be fun.
I thought he cramped up. I thought that was just a cramp. I didn't think it was like a blown groin.
Camper when he left?
Yeah.
Taking boneless chicken wings to a Super Bowl party is a bad idea. Keep it or clip it.
Keep it. You need. I've said this on the show before.
Cass's look right now is going to be good.
You need a little bone in there sometimes. You know, you don't want just the meat.
But
you need something to grab.
It's not a chicken wing. Then.
But
No,
here's the thing.
yeah.
Here's the thing, guys.
It's a nugget.
Now all of a sudden you have like more trash. You got to find somewhere to put it. You have bones on your plate, so you can't put chips on there. It just
These are great. That's a great point.
Chicken stock, baby. Chicken stock.
I didn't even think about
so you're
cleanup.
going to get your guests that have put their greasy fingers like with spit and gross and coronavirus all over them.
Coronavirus.
And you want to put them in your chicken stock.
No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't use that for chicken stock. But you gotta have. I hate boneless chicken wings. It's not. There's no such thing. Do you ever see a boneless chicken?
It's chicken. It's fried chicken. I like fried chicken.
Nicely
Hey,
played.
he's not too shitty today.
Wow.
Herd and Salas, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I mean, you're right. They shouldn't really be called boneless chicken wings. They should just be called nuggets.
But they're
But
not,
I think
they're
you
not
could bring
like
them.
nuggets. Nah.
Well, but they are nuggets, really.
No, because nuggets are made differently. Nuggets is like it's all chopped up and like basically made like a paste.
You think they pulled a wing out of these?
You think so? It's not the same because you could get the outside of the bone. You could pull that off and then turn that. That's how they make the boneless wings versus like nuggets, which are made of like mush that they put bread on.
Wait a second. Am I missing something here?
What?
Like they take the wing off a bone and then make it into the boneless wing? No way.
Take a bite of the boneless wing,
Yeah.
and then take a bite of a nugget. Look at the texture between the two, and tell me if there's a difference.
No, I think it would just be chicken breasts that they cut into nugget-sized pieces for the boneless wings. Don't you think?
No,
We need to get to the bottom of this.
It's a chicken chucked in like a blender and then put in a sieve.
That's a nugget.
That's a boneless wing.
No, look, they actually have chicken texture.
Actually, they should be called bonus wing. It's all ground up in that shit.
So, Cass, you want them at parties
I
because of
want them
cleanup.
at parties. I like them. It's easier to clean. I got more room on my plate. I'm not having to be like, well, now I have to go throw these out and then.
They used
get
to
a
be my
different
favorite,
plate.
but now it's creeping me out a little bit. It is. Gage, you kind of won me over here a little bit with this one. And I don't really like
You
the
didn't even
regular
make
wings
it a
because it gets
legitimate
messy.
argument.
I have like one bite of a regular wing, then I throw it out because I don't like chewing around.
No, you saw how I take those things down.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
like
You put
your
the whole
stuff.
thing in there, yeah. All right, Austin Matthews' outfit at the All-Star game was meant to be funny. Keep it or clip it.
I know we talked about this a little bit before, but I'm going to clip it. I think he is just trying to be super fashionable. I honestly think he's just trying to be super fashionable, and he just doesn't get it. Not that I'm super fashionable. I am not.
I like your shirt today, buddy.
Well, it's fine, but I'm not like wearing a powder blue with turtleneck to an event.
No, it's not Tuesday.
This guy, I just want him to come out and be like, I'm doing it all to be funny because I will be his biggest fan. Like, I think he's either
that
trying to be,
ruins it.
I think he's trying to be freaking hilarious or he's a different animal.
I think he's a different animal.
Yeah, Gage, what do you think?
I'm gonna clip it, but I think he's just doing it for shits and giggles.
You think he is?
Yeah, like a double-breasted blue powdered shirt with a white turtleneck. Come on. He's like a fashionable Cousin Eddie.
A fashionable cousin Eddie.
It's great. It's great.
All right, drinking hard liquor instead of beer is a better idea during the Super Bowl. Keep it or clip it.
Oh, gosh. There's so many variables.
4 hours for me drinking beer is going to blow me. So I'll probably just stick to rum and
You
Coke.
just gotta keep it slow, man. Just don't like
It's Super Bowl, Cass.
suit yourself.
And you get like more bang for your buck with a beer than a highball.
Yeah, if highballs are all special, you might be able to work
Yeah,
something.
I guess
Hey,
so.
maybe we're not doing highballs. Maybe we're doing shots here.
You know what? If Cass would actually bring some queso in here and we could do this properly, I'd go beer. But if I don't have Cass's cheesy dip, I'm going vodka sodas.
Well, see,
And maybe tequila.
you know what? I have this cool game I got for a Christmas present.
Yeah.
I need beer. I need to use beer for that too.
Oh, that is a good idea. All right, the Winnipeg Jets should sell at the deadline, opposed to be buying. I saw this article from a newspaper reporter, I think, in Winnipeg. I think those guys still exist in Winnipeg, newspaper reporters. I I know where I come on. Where do you come on this? Keep it or clip it? They should sell instead of buy.
I'm going to keep it.
You are, hey?
I'm going to keep it. I have said from the start, I was very surprised when they were winning as well as they did. And it was just the sheer power of their offense. But they need defensemen. They need defensemen. And you need to get them. And if you look at it, I don't think this year is their year. But if you bring in a defenseman or two, or you add one like later on, because you sell now and you have the ability to add in the summer. That would be the thought. Sell now, add in the summer.
Yeah, you're right. They're not going full rebuild. They're like, let's haul it in this year.
Let's haul it in this year and then try to bring in pieces in the summer. I think you're going to get a better value than trying to buy right now.
What do you think, Adrian?
Yeah, keep it. They've well, who are they going to sell though? I'm trying to think of.
Well, I don't know. Let's see who they have on.
They're not giving away one of their big pieces. Like what?
Yeah, you're not moving one of your. I mean, you're not selling Ehlers or something like that. Like I wouldn't think.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Well, hey, look, I would move. I would like he might be the guy to consider moving if you got a top pairing defenseman back in return. But let's just see here. Let's take a look at their UFAs here and see if they actually have anybody sell. They've got Nick Shore, Logan Shaw, Gabriel Bork, Dmitry Kulikov, Lucas Spiza. Yeah, you're right. There's not really a lot to sell there.
So what are you getting back for those? Unless you're moving
like mid to late picks, right?
Yeah, a Connor or Line or Scheifele. Like you're not, and why would you're not getting rid of those?
No,
guys?
that's not. You're right. That doesn't. I don't know. That article must have sucked. All right. Milan Lucic needs to make more of an impact physically for the Flames. Just based on what you saw last night.
Clip it. That guy skates like he's got skate guards on a Nordic track. How is he supposed to catch anybody?
It's true.
I mean,
I just wonder, like, why are Lucic and Ronaldo on the same team? Like, do you think that's benefiting the Calgary Flames? I think the Flames are a pretty good team.
They've been winning with both of them.
I just feel like Ronaldo's a waste of a roster spot if you feel like Lucic can deal with what you need to deal with.
I would agree with that. I think having both of them, if you feel like one or both of them can deal with anything, which I think they can, then it's enough.
Do you think they're both in the lineup Saturday?
Yep.
Yeah?
You think they'll leave them both in, eh?
Why wouldn't they be?
Because Ronaldo didn't do anything and then took a stupid penalty.
Yeah, there is that.
You're right. Like, would they? I think he'll be in. Why wouldn't he? Well, this. Oh yeah. Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
But they still won.
They did win. You're right. Yeah, you're right. That's true.
Cass, what did you think of Buddy?
Buddy Robinson.
I had a couple of people yesterday in the day be like, "Oh, they called up this Buddy Robinson guy who's going to go after Zack Kassian." I'm like, "You don't know who Buddy Robinson is."
It's like porn star.
He's a skill player, and he's big.
Yeah,
he's tall. He's
not fighting any.
Not fighting. He's got pretty good hands.
He's had 2 fights in the American League this year.
He actually looked not bad.
No, he's not. He can play. He was when he was signed out of college in Ottawa. Like he was highly touted. Like it was. There was a couple other teams that were in after him, if I recall correctly. Like there was a few offers, and he chose to come to Ottawa. He thought he'd have the best chance to make it early, and he just didn't pan out quite the way everyone hoped because he was a stud in the collegiate world, and then it just didn't manifest itself into doing really well in the NHL. But he's a highly skilled player, so I thought he was fine. Like did you notice anything bad about his game?
No,
no.
Took a penalty in the third, but I didn't notice anything bad about his game.
Nothing where you're just like, oh, he shouldn't be here. It's like he's a guy that can slot in your second line, I think, if you need to, which is why they would have called him up and put him in.
All right, having a bunch of guys over to watch the Super Bowl when your wife and kids are home is a no-go. Keep it or clip it.
What are you, 20? You hang out with a lot of single guys?
Yeah,
I don't think any of my friends are single anymore.
Kick your wives and kids out of the
house?
No,
but like other dads come over to watch the game with you. You know, like
but they don't bring their wives?
No, their wives can't come.
Why? I don't think it's a no-go. Why would that be a no-go? Like, what if that'd be like?
So you've got your wife and your girls are at home, and you got like 10 guys coming over to watch Super Bowl. Really?
What's
Don't you think that would be like a little bit of a hassle around the house with everybody? Like
maybe a little bit. I'd say, you know what, honey, you can, if you want to take the kids or go out somewhere, feel free to go. But
so now you're forcing your wife out of the house?
No, I would say you have the option.
Better than have her locked in a cage like you do, Dusty.
Yeah, if you're gonna stay, like you can stay. You can come down and have some of the queso and the boneless chicken.
You can have the leftovers.
I'm not gonna make you eat the chicken stock I made with leftover chicken wings from all my friends.
That would. I don't mind that idea.
Yeah.
I'd like to try that at some point. It would be
I was
all
going
right.
to say something real sexist. Good thing I didn't.
Good work, Gager. You're learning.
I'm learning.
You're learning. That's great.
You're not going to be in trouble when you go home.
No, she's out of town. I'm good.
Okay.
Couple
she
of
can
things.
still listen, Gager.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean she can't listen.
the internet is not just in Edmonton,
This
Gage.
isn't Alberta. This isn't Alberta.
Okay, two things I still wanted to get to. Johnny Gaudreau. Didn't notice him much last night. Is that last night was kind of like a playoff style game. Last year in the playoffs, he wasn't very good. Do you think on Saturday, do you think Johnny Gaudreau is capable of being a difference maker in that type of game? Because he's a pretty damn skilled guy, right?
Capable?
Yeah. Do you think on a regular
Yes,
basis
capable.
he could? But do you think he can do it? Can you believe in him to bring his A game when the going gets tough? Because this is probably a decision the Flames are going to, talk about this offseason again, right?
Well, he's obviously done it at some point in his hockey career where he's made a difference to be called Johnny Hockey. But no, we haven't seen it yet. So yeah, and like you said, he was non-existent in the playoffs last year. I mean, but the whole team was, right?
Smith was
the
good.
only player that was good was Smith. So I'm sure that's been in the back of his mind throughout the whole year. Maybe one of those kind of waiting till that time of the season rolls around. But yeah, last night playoff type game, and he's non-existent. I'd be a little worried.
Yeah, and I thought, and the Flames still won even without him being
Yeah.
that's how they're a good team. I liked them against the Blues too, even though they didn't win. I thought they played well. But yeah, I had that. Just I don't know, just kind of shies away from it. Maybe it's.
I saw Perron and Petrangelo this morning going to work.
Perron still have a huge ass.
Huge ass. I checked it out.
The guy does have a huge ass.
Yeah.
All right, the other one, Zack Kassian. We haven't talked about, but 4 years, $3.2 million. As the toughest of the Kassians, what do you think about this, man?
I approve. I think it was a fair price. We all thought around that $3 million mark was going to be where they were discussing. I think it's a fair price for what he brings. He can play with Draisaitl and McDavid if you need him to. Plays a physical game that's not as common now. Still has some skill. Skates really well. Skates really, really well. It doesn't take him to an age where you start worrying about a massive fall off.
33.
Yeah, still young at that point, or not NHL young, but not where you would expect massive drop off. So I'm fine with it. I think it was a fair price.
Gager?
Well, I was on my Horish media tour there. I talked to one of our friends from a really good mathematician, Mr. Ryan Rashog. About
he's really smart at math.
And we were trying to kind of say how much money the Oilers would have freed up. I think we kind of came around 10 million, something like that, in the offseason.
Signing, you'll probably end up 3 to 4.
Yeah, so if he takes 3 of that, and then Nurse with Bear, that's what we were talking about.
Well, he only
right?
takes 1.5.
Oh, is that the hit? Yeah. So
on top of what he currently has, you're adding in another 1.5 or whatever.
Okay, so yeah, I like it. I think there still leaves room to get some other guys.
As of right now, next year they've got $19 million in projected cap space. So the Kassian one takes off 3.5.
Yeah, Darnell.
And then Darnell takes off 6 probably ish, I would think. So yeah, you still got 10 mil after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Rashog did that math?
I did.
Okay, I was gonna say there's no way.
Yeah. I think he came up with some. I think he had 50 million.
Yeah, these guys have half the cap. What? All right, Hernan, old shitty producer over there. What do we have for possible names for this episode?
5 options.
Oh,
Whoa!
Wow, you're on your game today, buddy.
There can only be one.
That's a good one.
Oh, that's good.
It's like foreplay. Village bike, natural Viagra, and fashionable cousin Eddie.
Okay, but first of all, I'm going to eliminate Village Bike because I feel like that could be the name of another episode in the future.
Let's put that in the bank.
Yeah, let's save that one. What were the first two again?
There can only be one, and when Gage was like, it's like foreplay.
I think let's go Highlander. Hey,
Yeah,
Highlander's good.
and then episode 35. There can only be one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also, I've never watched Highlander.
What?
I know. Episode over.
You guys make fun of me.
Have you watched Highlander?
Yeah.
No, you have?
I watched the TV show.
My dad used to love Highlander.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get into it. Is there time travel?
Yep.
Oh, shit. That's
I'm
what I
just
love.
saying that because I know you love time
Yeah, I
travel.
do love time travel. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you very much to our presenting sponsor, Oddshark, especially Super Bowl weekend. Check out oddshark.com for all the information that you're going to need to know. Of course, our friends at Popeye's legendary Louisiana Chicken and Sport Clip Haircuts, always with Keep It or Clip It, where it's good to be a guy. For Hernan Salas, Zack Kassian, and Joaquin Gage, I'm Dustin Nielsen. Have a good weekend. We'll be back with episode 36 on Monday.